Hi, everyone. I would like to introduce myself to you. I'm your instructor for Humanities 115, sections IO1, IO2, and IO6. So this class is called Critical Thinking, and it is a catch-all phrase for any type of thinking, but critical thinking is especially something that you can use readily to make yourself a better thinker and better consumer of information. So in the most basic sense, critical thinking is about basic reasoning. And as such, you'll be learning about how to develop basic reasoning skills to spot good and bad arguments and also to make good and bad arguments. So we'll work through the syllabus a little bit here. So there's a course description per college catalog. And here's a course description that I would like to use to describe my classes. So, what is critical thinking? In simplest terms, critical thinking is the ability to think clearly and rationally about what to do and what to believe. And how does this class get you there? So, this class will help you achieve basic reasoning skills with which to evaluate statements, arguments, and truth claims. You'll be a more reflective, independent, and clearer thinker who is able to expose contradictions, inconsistent standards, and facile conclusions as hindrances to truth seeking. At the end of the semester, you'll also be able to create solutions to problems that pass the test of clarity, relevance, consistency, fairness, logical correctness, completeness, and truthfulness. And these here are the qualities of good reasoning, and they pass this test here. So you have to be clear, and whatever you're making, argument you're making has to be relevant and consistent. And consistent is key. Very often you hear these inconsistent positions, then you're not really sure if the argument maker himself or herself is sure of what they're saying, or they're not really, their arguments are not based on sound logic and sound argument based statements. And so logical correctness is very important in critical thinking. So is completeness, and so is truthfulness. So you don't want to make statements that are not true, because then that so very often leads to misinformation, of which we have plenty in this world right now. And so these are the specific learning objectives. And then here are general course goals. So here are, you might want to look at these because that's what you want to have at the end of the semester. So we will be going through the chapters in the book. We're not going to go through all the chapters because some of it is very complicated, and when it gets to symbolic logic, it's too complicated for the purpose of this class. So if you're more interested in symbolic logic or logic in general, we do offer logic classes here at Cape Fear. So week one we'll have a kind of a shortened a chapter because it's an introductory chapter. We don't need to spend 2 weeks on it, but all the other chapters we will spend 2 weeks. So chapter one, Introduction to Critical Thinking, where you're presented with the qualities of a critical thinker or arguments that employ critical thinking measurements. And chapter two, three, four, five, six, and we're going to do chapter 14. So you have to learn what arguments look like so that you can make good ones. And then you will learn about basic logical concepts. And then we talk about language, because the language that you used in order to arguments has also a lot of impact on how that argument is received. And then we'll go into something that I find to be very, very fun, which are logical fallacies. And these are good tools to have if you're ever arguing with somebody and that person is not holding consistent, truthful, or otherwise good arguments. And then we learn also about how to evaluate arguments. And then we also, at the end, will talk about thinking critically about media, because social media has been the number one culprit in spreading misinformation and disinformation. And it is very important as consumers of information that we know how to discern good arguments from bad and correct arguments from incorrect ones, and also how to make arguments when you're presented with bad arguments. So that is a gist of it. So at the end of each chapter, you will have a chapter prep, and then you'll have a chapter quiz. So every other week you will have a something that you will have to take online. And when you're not responsible for a chapter test or chapter quiz prep, then you will have discussion board posts that you will have to make about a certain exercise, of a group of exercises from the book. And that's where you will be applying what you learn in each chapter. So all of it together will help you become better and clearer thinkers. And believe me, this world is lacking critical thinkers. So if you're looking to become a better, more critical thinker, this class is it for you. Okay, so let's have fun. And I hope that this video made this class a little less impersonal because we are all online. And so you will have videos at the beginning of every chapter, sort of as an introduction. So hopefully you'll feel like you belong in this class and you're making personal connections with myself and with other classmates through the discussion boards. Okay, so come along for the ride and we'll learn what critical thinking is. Okay? Bye bye.